Welcome into Got It Covered as we wrap up NFL Week 2. Giovanni Heater alongside Raza Umarani with you. And, Raza, we had a nice slate this weekend, and the games certainly didn't disappoint. Some games that we expected to be awesome maybe weren't, and then other games kind of surprised us a little bit. So, nevertheless, a great slate in Week 2.
Yeah, I thought week one was a little bit better in terms of consistency. Remember, all the primetime games in week one were awesome, and all the primetime games in week two kind of sucked. I mean, we had a pretty good one on the first leg of the Monday night doubleheader, but other than that, bit of a snoozer this week in primetime. But I mean, if you had Red Zone on this week, that was some appointment television, and there were some great games early on Sunday, late on Sunday, so it was a fun slate.
We got to start with the biggest game of the week, the Super Bowl rematch. The Eagles go to Arrowhead and take down the Kansas City Chiefs. That's 3 straight defeats for the Chiefs at the hands of Philadelphia. This was a really interesting game, Raza, but my biggest takeaway is the Chiefs are 0-2 for the first
Yeah.
time since 2014. Let's dive into that before we dive into the X's and O's of this game.
Yeah, man. The Chiefs are 0-2, first time in Mahomes' career. The last time they started 0-2 was the last time they missed the playoffs, which I believe was 2014. Listen, you know me. A lot of our audience knows me. If anybody ever will play devil's advocate for the Chiefs and for Patrick Mahomes, it's your boy. Um, I can't do that right now. It's hard to look at the Chiefs
Wow.
right now and see anything that gives you any sort of hope. And the one thing I'll mention that's kind of holding them back is obviously they're without their top 2 wide receivers. And you take out any team's top 2 wide receivers, and it's hard for them to win football games and move the ball on offense. But really, more than that, man, it's just teams know how to stop the Chiefs right now because there's no threat in their passing game. Travis Kelce is old and washed, and their wide receiver one is Hollywood Brown. So you can stack the box. That's why they've been unable to run the ball in these first 2 games, right? Patrick Mahomes is their leading rusher with twice as many yards as Isaiah Pacheco. That's insane. I think I saw a stat on ESPN that said it's the first time a quarterback has had twice as many yards as the next leading rusher for any team. Like the second time that's happened since 1950 through 2 games. Some crazy stat like that. So they can just stack the box, stop the run, let Mahomes beat you with his legs because he's not going to beat you with his arm, which is crazy to think. But really, man, it's just the lack of receiving talent on this team between Travis Kelce being in the state that he is and no other receiver being able to make plays. But I also got to mention, man, Patrick Mahomes, it's just not the Patrick Mahomes that we've come to expect, the Patrick Mahomes that lights up our television screens every week. And it is partially because of what they're dealing with in terms of Rice's suspension and Worthy's injury, but it's also him, man. He's just not himself. It dates back to last year. You could even go to the year before. They don't have the guys on offense to make this death by 1,000 paper cuts thing work. And you're starting to see it come to fruition against really good defenses that can beat you in a multitude of ways. They deserve to be 0-2.
Who are you and what have you done with my friend? Because we've had countless arguments off the air about the Kansas City Chiefs the last couple of years. But I couldn't agree with you more to your point about Patrick Mahomes just not looking like himself, particularly late in the game, right? Because Patrick Mahomes is the guy that everybody picks as, okay, go win a game, superhero scenario. He's your guy, right? And he's earned that. There's no question about that. You don't win the Super Bowls and have the accolades that he has without that skill set. But late stages of this game, I understand he ends up hitting Horton on the not Hail Mary, obviously, but the Superman throw,
Yeah.
gets into the end zone to kind of give him a chance. But before that, he's got Thornton wide open, overshoots him by like 20 yards. And then the play immediately following, he throws one 8 yards in front of the receiver into the ground. And you're like, what is happening to Patrick? And it's more than just that, but those are the situations that stick out the most because of the magnitude of the moment and the game that it is against Philadelphia. And I thought coming into this game, there wasn't a universe that Kansas City wasn't winning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just thought Arrowhead lost in week 1, kind of dropped the ball in Brazil. It felt like there's no way they start 0-2. And you got the Eagles at home and everything with losing to them in the Super Bowl and 2 straight losses to Philadelphia. in opportunities to play them. Like, I just thought there was no universe that the Chiefs lose this game, and it wasn't enough. And the crazy thing about it, and we'll continue to talk about it throughout this episode, and I'm sure throughout the whole season, I can't even sit here and say they lost to the best team in the National Football League
No,
or the best team in the NFC for that matter. They're in that
no.
conversation. Don't get me wrong, they're in that conversation. I thought the Chiefs had to win this game, and they didn't. And I think they're going to be fine, but you know my point that I've hammered home how tough that division is. I think it's the toughest division in football this season. The
Mm.
AFC West with the Broncos, the Chargers look awesome, and then the Chiefs and the Raiders. And between that cannibalizing itself, and then you see how the performance is on the field against a very good NFL team that you should be, kind of equals to. They didn't live up to the standard. So we'll see. I think the Chiefs are a playoff team. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
anybody's sitting here saying they're not making the playoffs. Like, the Chiefs are going to be fine. But I don't know. I think the kingdom's crumbling.
So what's really okay, I won't go that far, but I will say what's funny about this game in particular, it felt like a passing of the torch of sorts, if you'll allow me to explain.
Please.
The the 20 so I said last week the 2025 Packers or the 2024 Eagles. I think the 2025 Eagles are the 2024 Chiefs, right? Defending champs, not as scary as they were when they won the Super Bowl. Don't win a lot of games convincingly, right? They're pulling out wins by the skin of their teeth, but they are winning games.
Right.
And they're going to keep winning games. The Eagles are 2-0. They just as easily could have been 0-2, right? Remember last year the Chiefs were 11-0 in one-score games, an NFL record. Now they're 0-2 in one-score games. Well, the Eagles are now 2-0 in one-score games. And if Travis Kelce and CeeDee Lamb, two of the best offensive weapons of this decade, had hands, they'd be 0-2, right? Probably.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's so much more than that. Because, like, I feel like even though last year Mahomes' numbers weren't crazy, they certainly weren't pedestrian. They were pedestrian by his standards. Jalen Hurts has not thrown a touchdown in 2025. Dylan Gabriel has thrown a touchdown before Jalen Hurts has. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith have a combined 104 receiving yards this season. It's not pretty on offense right now in Philly. And I still think their secondary is not great, but they're getting away with it. They got away with it in this game because of how shorthanded Kansas City is on that side of the ball. Like, Jalen Carter did not have a great game. Their front was fine against Pacheco, like I said earlier, but it's like Saquon's still not doing anything crazy. Hurts isn't doing anything crazy. Gio, 11.7% of their offensive snaps in this game. That's 1 in every 9 for the mathematically inclined out there, were tush pushes. They can't move the ball otherwise. Like, I think a lot of this has to do with Kevin Patullo being a not great offensive coordinator. Through 2 games, the scheme is awful. Like, I hate to use the excuse like, oh, it's the OC or nobody's getting open. But I watched the tape on this game yesterday. Nobody's getting open on offense. And even when you have guys as good as A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, the scheme can work against them. And right now the passing scheme is working against them. So I'm going to sit up here and I will love to rain on the parade of Jalen Hurts and the Eagles and everything. But fair's fair, okay? Their scheme sucks. And Hurts is doing what he can given the circumstance. And for what it's worth, they're winning, man. But this game has opened a lot of eyes to what I've seen for years facing this team twice a year, and what a lot of Eagles haters like myself have seen. The tush push is an unfair play, man. It's not just unfair because they're so good at it; it's because they get away with everything.
Yeah.
Like, they commit about 5 penalties.
The officials have no idea what to make of it. You see them standing there like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's getting ugly, dude. Brady on the broadcast was like, this is getting out of control. Dean Blandino, NFL rules expert for Fox, said, what was the exact quote? Like, I've given up on trying to like officiate this play.
It should be false starts, offsides. Like, you said 5 penalties.
Mm-hmm.
There's a laundry list of different infractions that you feel like take place. I think the biggest one, the most staggering, is they literally go early.
They
They're
do.
pushing before they snap the ball. Like,
Yeah, it's unfair, man. And I think this game, I think also the NFC Championship game, remember Frankie Louvu jumping over the top like
yeah,
time and time again, have shown just how one-sided it is in terms of fairness. The defense has no way of knowing when the ball is snapped, and now the Eagles are getting away with false starts. You can't expect to stop it. And yes, the Eagles have always been best at this compared to other teams because they're built to do it. They're so massive up front, and Hurts squats 1,000,000,000,000, and then now Saquon pushing him squats 1,000,000,000 as well. So if they get away, it's one thing if they execute it well and it's officiated fairly. Right now, it's not. It's already one-sided. I can't believe the play was not banned in the
I
offseason, right?
know.
It fell 2 votes short. It feels like we're staring at the end of it. And I think now, if the NFL takes steps to officiate this thing properly, we might see some interesting results from the tush push.
Is that something that would have to wait till after this season? I don't know the logistics on that.
Not necessarily. So, last night, the Geno Smith throws this arm punt and the Chargers pick him off at the 1 yard line. They lined up in a tush push formation, but before snapping the ball, the refs like had them shift on the line, saying like, "Hey, remember that it's like got to be center, guard, tackle here. Not everybody up at once." So I'm sure you've seen on Twitter, right? The NFL has taken down their videos of the tush push from that sideline angle, which shows clear false starts because everybody's ganging up on the Eagles now.
Right.
I think you're going to start to see slowly but surely them actually start to enforce stuff because people are starting to catch up.
Interesting. It's so bizarre how like nobody can do it like they do it. Like,
No.
for instance, you watch the Buffalo Bills do it. It looks like,
Mhm.
with all due respect, Josh Allen's flailing like a dead fish on
Mhm.
top of this massive bodies, and you're praying that he doesn't fumble it as he jumps on top of the. But like, it doesn't look the same when anybody else does it. And
Yeah.
and and Josh, I'm sure, I don't know, but I'm sure Josh can squat close to what Jalen Hurts can. He's got 4 inches of height on him.
That's right.
You know, Jalen Hurts is a freak in the gym, though.
He's unreal. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
him
listen,
and Saquon.
he's I will say we've seen Hurts through 2 games now. We've seen Herbert through 2 games. I know it's just 2 games, but I think one side is clearly winning the offseason argument of who's better, Justin Herbert or Jalen Hurts, right now. But again, that passing offense is stuck in neutral. So interested to see how they bounce back from that. Because right now, Hurts is just, he's not being done any favors. But that team is difficult to watch, man. They are ugly as hell to watch. I have no intention of watching the Eagles play on any given Sunday.
To play devil's advocate for a quick moment, and then we'll move on to our other games. But to play devil's advocate for Patrick Mahomes here, and I hate to do it, but I think the game completely flipped on its head. There's no question when he throws a dart into the end zone to Kelsey,
Mhm.
hits off his hands because Kelsey couldn't catch the ball. Makuba picks it off, has a nice return off the pick, sets
Yeah.
him up with favorable field position, and then the Eagles are able to go on this 10-play, 59-yard drive in 5 minutes. And how do they
And then the game.
score? With a tush push to end the
Mhm.
game, essentially. And I know
Yeah.
Patrick ended up having the long ball to Thornton later on, and they tried to have the heroics and whatnot, but then when you needed to, the Eagles were able to get the first down, game over. And that was the difference. The Makuba pick was the difference. That wasn't
Right.
on Patrick. That was on
No,
Kelsey.
it's on Kelsey. And he's weird, man. Why is he like throwing hissy fits in the middle of the I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. I'm telling you, man, Taylor zapped his powers. I don't know what she did, but she went shoop.
Well, he's going to be a married man soon.
He is.
All right, so Eagles take down the Chiefs. Let's go ahead and talk about this one because I think that there's an overarching storyline here that's going to linger. Bengals end up taking down the Jaguars. It's at home. The Bengals somehow have gotten through their rut of starting season slow, and they are now
Mhm.
2-0. Jake Browning comes in for the majority of this game and wins it for Cincinnati. But the big overarching storyline here is this: Joe
Mhm.
Burrow is injured. He's going to undergo turf toe surgery. He's expected to miss the next 3 months. Listen, let's call it what it is. He's out for the season
Right.
because they're hoping that he can come back towards the end of December, is that 3-month time span, mid to late December. And then at that point, who knows if you're even contention for the playoffs. We can talk about if Browning can help them be there. I don't think the defense is good enough for that. But to Browning's credit, he's going to have some really good receivers and targets to throw the
Yeah.
ball to. So
Yeah.
they might have a fighter's chance. But even then, you're hoping that he can be back in 3 months. You're one step out of bed to go take a leak away from tweaking something and you're out for 4 months instead, or three and a
Mhm.
half months or whatever. Like, you're just hoping and clinging on to that end of December, which is essentially the end of the season. So he's pretty much out for the year. And it feels like it's wraps for the Bengals. The bigger problem is now this is the third time in his career that Joe Burrow has this significant of an injury. In 2020, his rookie year, torn ACL, MCL, PCL, meniscus, blew out his knee,
Yeah,
missed the
that was
final
ugly.
6 games of the season. In 2023, of course, the right wrist injury, he missed the final 7 games of the season. And now in 2025, turf toe, which, by the way, is the most disgustingly undernamed injury in football.
Yeah.
Like, it's a serious ligament injury that's incredibly painful. I've never had it, but if you read up on it, it's not fun. But
No, you can't
hearing
walk.
hearing turf toe sounds so elementary, you know.
Yeah, I get what you
Um,
mean.
but the turf toe, he's going to need surgery. He's going to be out for the next 3 months. Unfortunately, Joe Burrow is now in that Andrew Luck conversation of can't stay healthy and can't stay on the field.
So Andrew Luck retired after his sixth NFL, right before his seventh NFL season was about to start. This is Joe Burrow's sixth season in the NFL, and now it's been cut short again. And still, through 6 seasons, he's been sacked 27 more times than Luck was in his 6 years. I think it was Adam Schefter who tweeted that his offensive line has never ranked above the bottom quartile in pass block win rate in his career. That's insane. And the Bengals have never gone out of their way to try and remedy that. Like, I know they made a move for Orlando Brown, but that was bad. They haven't spent a super high draft pick on it, unless you count Jonah Jackson, who's like no longer on the team. Bad. It's brutal, man. Like, it just drives me insane because the Bengals pour all this money into Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and none of it into protecting the franchise. And again, it's just going to keep biting them. I will say it's not like he was playing well this season. Like, so
But
I
look what
have
he
it
did
pulled.
last year.
That's right. But let me just say, I have it pulled up right now. Here are the only quarterbacks that have a worse EPA per play this season than Joe Burrow. This list kind of hurts me. Okay, JJ McCarthy, Cam Ward, Joe Flacco, Tua, Gino, Caleb, and Jaden Daniels. Like, so guys like Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Spencer Rattler, Justin Fields have had better starts to their seasons. Now, granted,
But
it's
it's
just
2
2 weeks.
games.
I know, but my point here isn't that the season was a lost cause. If anything, this is a point that the season might not be lost in Cincinnati because you mentioned Browning has got guys to throw to. This is like year 3 or 4 for him in the system. We've seen him come in and he's been above 500 as a starter in his career in Cincinnati in 23 when Burrow went down with the wrist injury. Maybe all is not lost for Cincinnati. If they can stay afloat in the AFC wildcard race with Browning, maybe Burrow does come back in mid-December and helps them try and get a playoff spot. I don't know how smart that is, but yeah, my point there was not that Burrow sucks. Obviously, Burrow does not suck. The point is that they might be fine with Jake Browning. I think that they were very lucky to win that game against Jacksonville. Brian Thomas, a huge drop on 4th down, and then I think an awful pass interference call on Travis Hunter on the 4th and game, essentially, for the Bengals to extend that drive where they eventually win the game. It's just like, that was a game of who wanted to lose it more. But if Browning comes in and throws 3 picks and still
Yeah.
wins,
That
maybe, just maybe, they're fine.
that was my next point. He does go 21 of 32 with 2 touchdowns, 241 yards. He did throw 3 picks.
Yes.
So that's food for thought, no question. I don't see a world where we were talking about Cincinnati. I was higher on Cincinnati than you were, but
That's
we
right.
were talking about Cincinnati because of the defensive problems, barely getting into the playoffs as it was.
Mm-hmm.
Now you take Joe Burrow out, I think Cincinnati's not winning more than 8 games without Joe Burrow.
Right.
And that's not even like
maybe
a
they can
knock on
tread
Browning.
water.
Maybe
You're
they
right.
can tread water, but the division's hard. You got the Ravens that you got to play twice. You know what Cleveland does to them. They barely beat Cleveland last week, so that's a win. And then Pittsburgh's not bad. Maybe. We'll
We'll
see.
see.
We'll see.
But yeah, it feels like a 2023 redux, honestly. And I don't think they're a playoff team like with Browning. I hardly thought they were a playoff team with Burrow. More than anything, man, this just sucks. Like, it sucks for everybody involved.
Yeah, no question about it. All right. Well, the Eagles-Chiefs game was all right. The final score was close, but this game was an absolute banger. No question, game of the week, possibly one of the games of the year. How about the Cowboys? Overtime win over the New York Giants in an epic fourth quarter that saw back and forth trading of blows. And then all of a sudden in overtime, nobody wanted to score. And they were saying, please just win it. I don't want to win this game. I want to take you through the final drive chart here. Fourth quarter. Going into the fourth quarter, Dallas is up 17-16. Just 17-16. Look at that final score. Okay. Field goal for Dallas. They go up 20-16. Russell Wilson and the Giants respond with a touchdown. 4-play, 60-yard drive in 2 minutes, and they reclaim the lead 23-20. Dallas responds with a touchdown, 27-23. Then a 7-play, 63-yard drive for the Giants makes it 30-27 in favor of New York. A touchdown for the Cowboys on an 11-play, 71-yard drive makes it 34-30 in favor of the Cowboys. The Giants then respond with a touchdown, and the Giants take the lead again. It's 37-34. The Giants tie the game.
Moonball.
Yes. Russ Moonball. And then Dallas ties the game on a field goal to even it at 37 all and force overtime.
A 64-yard field goal, by the way.
Yes, true. You then go to overtime, and the stark contrast was certainly real. Aubrey's a dog, by the way. Yeah, 64-yard field goals preposterous. Punt for the Cowboys on the initial possession. Giants get the ball. They go 4 plays, 7 yards, and they punt. The Cowboys get the ball back, and in 3 plays, 0 yards, they punt the football. The Giants have a chance to go down the field and win it with even just a field goal because this is now their second possession of the overtime period. They could have done that the first time they had the ball. And they throw an interception on the second play of that possession. And then the Cowboys finally said, fine, we'll win the game. And they go 4 plays, 42 yards in 2 minutes. And Aubrey kicks a 46-yard field goal. And literally for a 46-yard field goal, it looked like he was chipping it in from 4 inches off the green. Like he barely swung his leg. I was like, that's incredible.
Yeah, try a 2-foot putt for Aubrey. Yeah. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
Really fun game. I don't know why every time Joe Davis calls a Cowboys game, all hell breaks loose, but it reminded me of what I saw last year when Dallas came to Washington in that ridiculous fourth quarter. Because like the start of the fourth quarter in that game was like 13-9 Washington, and the final score was what, like 34-27 or something. So don't know what the hell is happening there, but Joe D gets to have a good time and Big D every time. What's the story of the game here? Like, honestly, for me, dude,
Russ had the game of his last 5 years. This is the best game he's played in like 5 years.
I think so too. Career high in passing yards. Did not have that on my bingo card for his time as a Giant. For me, like, we know Dallas's offense is good. They played well in the opener before the lightning delay, that is. CD's hands were working. George Pickens has been a really good addition for them. Their run game has been shockingly good. Like Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders, underrated platoon of running backs. And I didn't think I'd be singing that too. And Jaden Blue's been a healthy scratch the first 2 weeks. I didn't see that coming.
Sanders only had 15 yards in this game, but Williams was a dog. 18. He ran the ball 18 times. Nobody runs the ball 18 times in the National Football League.
No. So
97 yards, by the way.
Yeah, he's had a really good start to the year. But my biggest takeaway, man, is Dallas's defense is just so bad. And that wouldn't be the biggest takeaway because it's been the case previously. If they didn't trade Micah Parsons before the season started. Oh, we want to be better against the run. Cam Scadaboo's gashing you up the middle like it's nothing. maybe we want to have, a more consistent pass rush across the line. Nope, Russell Wilson is making it look like it's 2014 on your dome top. The secondary is awful. There is one team with a worse drop back EPA per play than the Cowboys. I will let you guess who it is.
Worse drop pack EPA per play than the Cowboys
Yeah.
defense.
They're 31st, so who's 32nd?
I'm just trying to think of who's gotten lit up. I don't know. Just tell me.
It's Miami.
Oh, yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
Okay, that's not good company to keep in the NFL. So good for us, great for Neighbors. I'm happy every time that kid balls out. That's not going to happen ever again. Okay, they played the Chiefs next week. They're not doing that. Dallas, man, this is their season, and we knew it was going to happen. They're the Bengals of the NFC. They're going to put up a lot of points, but their defense is, I mean, dude, like they're getting ran through the way gas station sushi runs through your intestines. Like it's bad.
It's such a shame that Jerry refuses to get out of his own way, because our generation, like our parents' generation, there's so many people that hate the Cowboys because they were America's team, right? Our generation, and you do because you're an NFC East guy, so it's completely
they're
different.
our biggest rival. Yeah.
But our generation, unless you're an NFC East fan, you don't hate the Cowboys. If anything, you feel bad for Cowboys fans.
You laugh at the Cowboys.
And I think football would be better if the Cowboys were good. Remember those couple of years the Cowboys were making the playoffs? That was good for football.
Yeah, so they went 12-5 3 years in a row when we were in college. Like it's not like it was that long ago.
Right.
They're not gonna get back to that anytime soon. Like they are just horrendous defensively. It is staggering.
They're wasting Dak.
They are. 100% they are. And CD for that matter. And you don't want to judge this trade until we see what Dallas does with the 2 first-round picks they acquired. But like how can you spin this positively for Dallas right now? Micah Parsons is the defensive player of the year through two weeks, damn near the MVP through 2 weeks.
And you traded him within the NFC.
Yes, to a contender. That's now looking like the best team in the NFL.
Right.
So, yeah, I feel bad for Dallas, to be honest with you. But, hey, we held the Giants to 6 points, and they did that. So what's going to happen when Dallas has to play other high-flying offenses in the NFC? It's going to be ugly.
For what it's worth reading the stat line of Russ. He was nearly flawless till that overtime pick.
Correct.
30 of 41. 450 yards. 3 tuds, 1 interception. He did take 3 sacks. I don't know how the Giants defense amassed 3 sacks.
But, dude, he leads the league in passing.
Yeah. It's
like
after week 1, they look terrible against the Commanders.
They did.
So most of him leading the league in passing roots from this game.
Exactly. And the same thing, I think Neighbors is first or second in receiving. But again, this is not going to happen again. So I hope Neighbors had his fun, because it's still genuinely, it's still only a matter of time before we see Dart.
Neighbors had 9 catches, 167 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Good God.
Yeah, fantasy lovers. Let's face it, nobody had Russ on their roster.
No.
he was sitting there as a free agent, but those that had Neighbors were sitting pretty. No question about it. All right, let's move on and talk about another offensive explosion. And it came from the Lions. A 52-burger on Ben Johnson's head. Who saw that coming after what the Lions did against Green Bay last week? You saw 52 points coming?
No, nobody
I'm calling
did,
your bluff.
But I said they would. I said they were going to win this game pretty comfortably.
You said they were going to win comfortably, but we said how many question marks are there on offense, and they're not the same without Ben Johnson. It doesn't matter how many good players they have; their scheme is garbage, and they're poorly coached on offense. At 52 points, I get it was the Bears. I don't care. 52 points in the NFL. Russ didn't drop 52 points. He dropped 37. He threw for 450 yards.
And by the way, I don't care what Campbell says, what Goff says. They were running up the score. They had a point. You do not go for it on 4th and goal with 2 minutes left, up by 20, unless you're trying to stick it to the man. And boy, they stuck it to the man. I mean, Goff, vintage Goff, man. That was Goff of last year. He was incredible in this game. Amon-Ra St. Brown was a monster. Jamison Williams took the top off twice
Mm-hmm.
Laporta wasn't even that involved, but then you got like Gibbs and Monty doing their thing, man. Really, what proved to me, it wasn't just the fact that they went for that fourth down late in the game to make it a 50 burger. The thing that proved to me that the Lions were out for Ben Johnson's head is when Kirby Joseph picked off Caleb Williams, and I'll talk about him in a second. When Kirby picked off Caleb, and their celebration was running the defense ran the fake stumble touchdown that the Lions ran against the Bears last year as like a, hey, Ben Johnson, that's the team you chose. We're still here doing our thing. I loved it, man. I'm 2 for 2 on my Bears hate watches this year. That's like catharsis every week, every time I flip to Fox. So two things, okay? Two things that aren't Lions related here. One, I guess the Packers are just the 85 Bears. Like they're insane. And two, there's a CVS receipt of reasons why the Bears stink right now. In this game in particular, it's not primarily Caleb's fault. That being said, I wasn't impressed with him. It's another game where they score on the first drive, like the script is really good, and then they just fall apart down the stretch. That interception he had was horrible on 2nd and 32, rolling out and just chucking it in the middle of the field. I just have no idea what the hell he's doing. He's still not comfortable. The offensive line still stinks. Rome Odunze had the best game that he's had as a pro. They have the worst running game in the NFL, probably. But like numbers wise, Caleb wasn't bad. He got away with another ball that should have been picked. He threw it into quadruple coverage, but the seas parted at the right time for Odunze to catch it. It's about to get ugly for Chicago in ways I didn't expect it to, because there's not great. Dude, what's a worse way to start the year than 0-2, both losses in the division, and in the first one you blew a double-digit fourth quarter lead at home, and in the second one you lost by 30. Does it get worse than that?
I don't know. Riddle me that. No,
So
probably not.
so it's about as bad as I expected
The
it to be. And now
Dolphins, maybe.
true, because that's embarrassing. But now Ben Johnson's like being chirpy with the media and
Which is blasphemous.
Looking pissed at Caleb at every turn. I'm telling you, it's a matter of time before Tyson Bagent is the starting quarterback in Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah, Caleb's not the guy that Ben Johnson signed up for, and they are beefing.
They are. You can see
they are not on the same page.
Look at the. You saw it last week, and I saw it pointed out on television. Now, I think JJ's got his own problems, and maybe we save that for another episode. Obviously, he's injured now for what they say 2 to 4 weeks with an ankle sprain. I know
I'm going
you
to talk
have.
about that.
I know
later,
you. I know you have your thoughts about that. Look at the stark contrast, though, in that player-coach relationship, and how Kevin O'Connell just smiles like, "Hey, you're good. Like, breathe. It's football." And it's versus how Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams interact with one another.
It's oil and water.
It's so different.
Yeah, it's ugly, dude. I'm telling you, it's ugly. They did not extend Tyson Bagent because he's a great backup quarterback. He is. They extended him because Ben Johnson likes him more. And I think before daylight savings, genuinely, that Tyson Bagent will start at some point. They are. You can't look at what Caleb Williams is doing right now and play the patience card. I know people on Twitter are like, we don't let quarterbacks develop anymore. Well, at least when you try and let quarterbacks develop, they, show development. Caleb isn't. And I think the leash is getting shorter and shorter every week. So this was awesome. I tip my cap to Dan Campbell. We have so much love for the Lions. Obviously, they're so easy to root for.
We love the Lions.
And man, they've got a fascinating one next Monday against Baltimore on Monday Night Football. It's going to be awesome.
I cannot wait. Is that a doubleheader week?
No, it's a solo Monday nighter.
Okay. So it'll be Buck and Aikman.
It will.
Not that we don't love Chris Fowler, but Chris Fowler just doesn't hit the same on an NFL game as he does with Herbie on a just like Herbie doesn't hit the same on an NFL game.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. And for what it's worth, Gio, Chicago also plays in a national window next week. 4:30 Fox game, KB and Brady at home against Dallas.
That's a fascinating game too.
I seriously think if the offense does not figure it out in that game, and if they lose, and if Caleb looks like this again against a horrible defense, Bajent could be the starter in week 4.
Wow. Food for thought. No question about it. Big win for Detroit. Awesome to see him drop 52 points. I was super, super impressed with that. One more game to talk about here in specificity, and then we're going to kind of branch off and just wrap up our thoughts on week 2 of the National Football League. And it's this guy's team, the Packers. I'm sorry, man. They took it to him. I don't know what else to say and how else to put it. We may be looking at the Super Bowl champions.
Yes.
It's it might be Jover.
Yeah,
in
like
the NFC.
Dude, every team in the NFC is absolutely pooping themselves. Like, again, we know the Commanders' offense is good, even though they're dealing with their own problems right now. We know that clearly the Lions' offense is still crazy good.
Yeah.
And the Packers have suffocated both of them. I'm going to let you talk. I want to talk about my team. I'll do that after. The Packers deserve their shine. You tell me, bro. What do you see from the Packers right now?
0 weaknesses.
Right.
None. That's what I see out of the Green Bay Packers. And you know how nearly impossible that is in the National Football League to point at a team and say there is nothing wrong with them. Even the Eagles last year, people said Jalen Hurts was what would hold them back. Now, that proved to not be the truth. In the Super Bowl, he threw a nuke to Devonta Smith. That's one of the game-defining plays in a historic Super Bowl run for the Eagles. But again, no matter who wins the Super Bowl year after year, you can point to certain teams and be like, this is their weakness. With Buffalo, especially in week 1, you could have said it was their run defense. People thought that the Jets were going to smoke them on the ground with Breece Hall. That did not happen. But you could point to Baltimore and say Lamar is their shortcoming come the postseason and things like that. I don't see a single weakness through 2 weeks for the Green Bay Packers. Quarterback play has been spectacular. The biggest takeaway for me, they're taking care of the football. Jordan Love, 19 of 31 in this game, 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Again, taking care of the football. The numbers aren't blowing you away. When you don't give the other team the ball, you're in a really good spot. On the ground, 135 yards as a team. Josh Jacobs, has to be one of the best tailbacks in the NFL. And this is going to, not that he wasn't already super respected. Like, if you're a fantasy football player, everybody knows Josh Jacobs. But they weren't winning the same amount of games that Derrick Henry was. And even James Cook was. And Isaiah Pacheco was, for that matter. 23 carries, 84 yards, and a touchdown. Tucker Kraft. Dude's a beast.
He's George Kittle.
Essentially, they have George Kittle. You're right with that. Dontavian Wicks, Malik Heath. You just go down the list, and there are pass catchers to throw the ball to. You know what was staggering? He was targeted, but Matthew Golden didn't even have a catch in this game.
No, he has 1 or 2 catches on the whole season.
And this is the offensive side of the ball. You look at the defensive side of the ball. I mean, to your point, just suffocating to what we know to be good offenses. One of them just scored 52 points this week. And I get it was the Bears. I don't care. You score 52 in the NFL, you're in a league of your own. Yeah, you're in a league of your own. It was impressive. I mean, this is a Washington team that played in the NFC Championship and has a better roster this year and kept all their coordinators and everything. This was impressive. And I know it was at Lambeau, but I think Green Bay will be favored in every single game they play.
Yeah, I agree. A couple of notes on the Packers. Interested to see if they take a step back in the passing game without Jaden Reed. I know it's such a committee of receivers they have, and they certainly didn't miss him when he left the game. But broken collarbone's no joke, and I feel bad that it happened on a play that didn't even count. So we'll see how that impacts it. Let's see if they unlock Matthew Golden fully moving forward. The defense, man, I told you, it's the 24 Eagles. And the reason is because they can consistently pressure you with only 4. Now, granted, they blitzed Jaden Daniels in this game more than Jaden's ever been blitzed in his career, and it resulted in him being completely battered. But they can rush 4, get home consistently, drop 7 guys if they want to into coverage. But the biggest thing, and this is what allowed the Eagles to be so good last year, is they drop 7 guys into zone. Everybody has eyes on the ball. And even if you're mobile enough like Daniels is to escape, they're athletic enough to catch up to you.
Parsons is a freak off the edge.
It's not like you have guys with their backs turned like you're playing man coverage, which allows for Daniels to be so effective with his legs. It's unreal. They have answers at every position. Why are Keyshawn Nixon and Javon Bullard playing like, prime Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu all of a sudden, and Darrelle Revis? Like, it's nuts. They're so sticky. Jeff Hafley's an incredible defensive coordinator. That should not get lost in the sauce here. But they have a formula that's going to work against everybody unless you have, 5 all-pros on the offensive line. But we saw what they did to Detroit last week. They have a solid offensive line. So, and it's not like Laramie Tunsil's a bum. I know they went to work against Josh Connerly, the rookie. He's got a lot of work to do, clearly. But honestly, Gio, I said this was a loss, right? And I said from the moment the schedule came out, this was a loss. What bothers me is there are ways to lose. Not all losses are created equal. In my opinion, this was the worst, most lifeless, most listless game of the Dan Quinn, Jaden Daniels, Adam Peters, etc. era of the 21 or 22 games that we've played. But at this point, we're sitting here on Tuesday, right? The game was 5 days ago. I've kind of flushed that out of my brain.
You weren't in good shape on Thursday.
No, I
didn't talk to you much on Thursday. I knew better.
No, I was less sad and more just upset about the way they played. Completely lifeless on offense. Didn't have a first down until midway through the second quarter is insane, regardless of circumstance.
Bro's girlfriend is literally going across the entire globe for a month to go to Thailand, and he's less upset about that and missing her, and he's more upset about Jaden Daniels not getting a first down. That's how Thursday night went.
It was not good across the board, and like the defense, bro, Marshawn Lattimore, just oh my days, just getting cooked like it's nobody's business. They can't get a pass rush. There's just so many problems. But really, dude, like, again, I flushed it. It was 5 days ago. What bogs me down today is the lingering effects of this game. Okay. Austin Eckler out for the season, torn Achilles. If you ask me, I don't think he plays again ever.
Wow.
It's hard to bounce back from that injury at his age with his wear and tear. Dietrich Wise, massive offseason pickup, who had a fantastic opener against the Giants. Big, commanding presence off the edge in both the pass and the run game. Out for the season. They said it's a quad injury. I don't know if he broke his femur or something, but it was brutal. On an extra point, dude. On an extra point. And Eckler tears his Achilles on a meaningless garbage time drive. You have Noah Brown, groin injury. Now he's back sidelined again. John Bates, he has a groin injury. He's going to be sidelined for God knows how long. Those are 2 things that are going to continue to hinder this offense across the board when they already can't figure anything out. Because Terry McLaurin missing all of camp, turns out it does have a huge lingering effect on how good this offense is, because nobody's on the same page except for Jaden and Ertz, which was a good combo from last year, and also Deebo Samuel, who's been the best player on offense.
Yeah.
But then there's a big one, right? Jaden, knee sprain. Everyone in the district has PTSD all of a sudden. I feel a lot better that they've come out and been like, he's day-to-day. He's already begun his return to play process. We'll play Mariota if necessary, but we're taking it day by day with Daniels. That's way better than the Bengals saying before the sun went down that Joe Burrow needed surgery. And he had an MRI done that showed no structural damage and things like that. So I think we've avoided something huge. Now it's just about erring on the side of caution. The kid is not so easily sat down. He hates to miss time. He wants to play through injury, but a sprain can bog you down, man. Jordan Love sprained his knee in the first game of last year and was just never the same. So my concern is, is Jaden going to be the guy he was last year when the offense is already dealing with so much trouble, not being on the same page? The offensive line is still figuring itself out. It's bothersome. I think I said this earlier to a friend. I think things are going to get worse before they get better in Washington. Now, here's the flip side of this. This was always the easy part of the schedule. All right. They play the Raiders this upcoming Sunday, right? Washington's on a long week. They played on Thursday night. Vegas is on a short week, having played at 10 Eastern on a Monday night, and they also have to travel across the country. So if this has to be Mariota, and we'll talk about it when we talk about our week 3 picks, rather, if it has to be Mariota, so be it. I just not all losses are created equal. And for this to be the worst performance Jaden's ever had, and he leaves with an injury, and the whole team is beat up right now, I just hate Thursday Night Football. I hate it. I'm on edge for the rest of this week, and it sucks.
Deep breaths, buddy. Deep breaths.
I know. I'm okay.
Let's take a couple minutes here. Look at the scope of the NFL. Anything stick out to you in any of these other games? You had a banger between the Patriots and the Dolphins. It feels like the sky is falling in Miami. Mike McDaniel, I almost clipped it and played it. I didn't get a chance to, but Mike McDaniel can't even get words out at the press conference. Not good times in Miami. Handful of other decent games. The Monday night doubleheader, pretty dominant performance out of the Chargers.
Yeah,
Chargers are looking special. I think that Herbert Harbaugh marriage is working out swimmingly thus far. No question about it. This is the Herbert that we knew we thought we could get with Harbaugh. Sometimes it takes a minute, and this is what we're seeing. And then the other game was pretty good too. Obviously Tampa Bay goes down, wins it at the last second in Houston against the Texans. Two good teams, two teams I have in the playoffs, and I believe you do as well. So yeah, nice Monday night doubleheader, all things considered. Games didn't blow your socks off, but some good games throughout the week. Any takeaways for you? And then I'll touch on the Buffalo Bills for just a split second at the end.
I got you. Derrick Henry, you let me down, big bro. You let me down in a big way. Now, I was never winning in fantasy. I was facing Lamar, Amon-Ra, Kenneth Walker. It was never happening. But 23 yards is nasty work, I got to say. I agree with you on the Chargers. Rams quietly 2-0 with two pretty good wins. Bucks, man, 2-0 just as easily they could be 0-2. The difference is Baker Mayfield is a dog. 2-0 with two huge game-winning drives, huge stones on that throw to Ibuka in the opener, and then that fourth down run to extend the drive on the last game-winning drive on Monday night was crazy. We can't not talk about the Colts right now. I mean, Danny Dimes is the story of the year. The Colts look like the front runners in the AFC South right now, and
he's going to have a Sam Darnold kind of year, I think,
right?
Like what we saw last year.
And a fun story, man. And that's a fun team to watch. I mean, between Cam Bynum's celebrations and Jonathan Taylor's an awesome back. And, first year after Jim Irsay's passing, this is an easy team to root for, a fun team to root for. I like the Falcons a lot, man. The Falcons defense is legit. For the first time ever, they have a pass rush. I feel bad for I said Terry Fontenot didn't know what he was doing in the draft. All 4 of those draft picks on defense are studs. So good for them. I guess really quickly, the Patriots, Dolphins, whatever. I'm never trusting the Dolphins.
It was just a good game. It was just a good game. That's all. That's all it was.
I
good
wish
for Vrabel in May though.
Good, yeah, he was awesome. And shout out to my boy Antonio Gibson with the game-winning kick return touchdown.
Yes.
I wish Houston had an offensive line, but we all can't get what we want. Steelers return to earth. Jets return to earth. Geno with like a really bad game for the Raiders. I didn't like that very much. And then I guess Cam Ward is doomed. I don't know. But yeah, quiet week across the NFL in terms of the other games that we didn't mention. But yeah, the Bills, man, ho-hum, as always, against the Jets. But weird, because Josh didn't do anything. Obviously, he had that nose thing, but it's not like he was doing anything in this game. This was the James Cook game, wasn't it?
That was my biggest takeaway is they destroy a Jets team that everyone was super high on. Like the Jets came into this with a huge opportunity to be like, whoa, if they could even just make things super interesting against Buffalo because of the way that they played and lit up the scoreboard against Pittsburgh in this duel between Aaron Rodgers and Justin Fields. And they're feeling like, oh, we have something here. And people saw Buffalo struggle in the run defense against Derrick Henry and Baltimore and said, oh, Breece Hall's going to have a day and Buffalo could be in trouble here. And what? Nope.
Never a doubt.
Like not even a doubt. And the thing that really stood out too about the Jets is they got in their own way. Penalties absolutely killed them. There was a ton of hidden yardage in that ball game against Buffalo that doesn't show up in the box score because of the penalties for the Jets, including on the opening drive. Josh was facing like a 3rd and 18 because of a Buffalo penalty. And instead, I don't even remember what the penalty was, roughing the passer. And it was a warranted roughing the passer. He hit him helmet to helmet after he threw the ball. They get a free first down. They score a touchdown, and the game was over like that. But yeah, to your point, the Bills showed that they can win in emphatic fashion without Josh, basically. Like, Josh didn't do anything spectacular. He didn't have a rushing touchdown. When does Josh not have a rushing touchdown? I don't even know. I have to pull up the box score. I think he only accounted for 1 TUD. Maybe.
I don't know. I know this was the James Cook masterclass.
Yeah, James Cook definitely looked really good. But no, it was just a dominant performance by the Bills. And I think the big takeaway for me when you look at the Bills, let's see, Allen had 0 passing touchdowns. Allen didn't account for a touchdown in this game.
That's right.
That's incredible.
So, and to your point,
they put up 33.
They can do this against the teams on their schedule, right? Because remember that the story around Buffalo and them being, in control for the 1 seed in the AFC is the fact that their schedule is Charmin soft.
Right.
So
here's the next set of games for them. Tell me where you see a loss. They're not playing a hard game until November. The next game is Thursday Night Football. They play Miami in Buffalo.
It's a route.
They play New Orleans in Buffalo.
Route.
They play New England in Buffalo.
Should be a win, yeah.
They do play at Atlanta.
That's a tricky one.
But they're significantly better than Atlanta still, I think.
Yes, they are.
And should theoretically win that game.
Right.
They play at Carolina.
Good Lord.
And then finally on November 2nd, they host Kansas City.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, they're going to go to that Chiefs game undefeated.
They shouldn't lose a game.
And then after
the Patriots might pick them off and the Falcons might pick them off. But yeah, they're going to be, 8-0, 9-0?
And then you look at who they get at home. Chiefs at home. They play the Buccaneers, but it's in Buffalo. They play Cincy. Cincy's going to be without Joe Burrow, and it's in Buffalo. Right. They play the Eagles in Buffalo. That's it. Their hardest game, their literal hardest game on the schedule away from home is
Atlanta,
at Houston. At Houston.
Oh, true. And they don't have an offensive line. Who knows what that looks like?
I mean, at Houston is your toughest road game. Sign me up for that any day of the week.
And they've already gotten Baltimore out of the way. Like it's
they're a lock. It feels like they're a lock for the one at this point.
Yeah.
I know there's so much football left to be played, and Josh literally breaks his nose, gets it snapped back into place, and says, "Nobody makes me bleed my own blood." He's a cyborg. Yeah. He's the Terminator.
They don't have an excuse to not be the ones, especially again, remember before I was like, I can't put anything past the Chiefs. Well, now it's a disaster in Kansas City. So it's theirs to lose, man. They can just jog through the regular season, get a 1 seed and turn it up in the playoffs. Like this is the stars seem to be aligning a little bit. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but stars are aligning a little bit for the Bills to exercise some demons this year.
That would be nice. All right, we got a lot coming up here on Got It Covered throughout the week. We've when we have the time, we like to chunk these up into smaller videos, much more digestible. So we did that with some of our big college football games. Be on the lookout for that for the NFL games as well. If that's more your size and your speed, then you hit that up in the later weeks instead of hitting the big show. But if you like the big show and you like to listen to this at work and not have to worry about clicking through videos and listening to ads, this is your stop. So we got a little bit of everything for everybody coming out throughout the rest of the week. We're of course going to have our college football picks and our NFL picks. We do those before Thursday night football. So Thursday, be on the lookout for that. You can follow us on social media as always at Got It Covered FB. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. We love all the support. It's been really fun seeing people comment and talk about things. You guys love the controversy. Why when we talk about a head coach being fired, is that our most viewed video? Like, we put up our college football reactions with some banger game of the year type years in college football. I got like 15 views in the first couple of hours. And Brent Pry's got 300 views in like 2 hours. And I didn't even advertise it. The other videos we advertised on social media. Brent Pry didn't even get advertised, and you guys were all over it. So
yeah, if it bleeds, it leads, man. If it bleeds, it leads.
There you go. All right, we'll talk to you guys on Thursday. As always, Raza, why don't you let the people know what we have them?
We got them covered.